steal that nice pen? I got
So, you know, he's got a rinky one in his pocket.
Hello.
He's gonna take.
Oh, for sure.
Here, sit there. See, Anna got in.
Well, because Ben let me in.
Oh, I'm gonna sneak it out.
It's locked.
Is it, should I go open it?
Don't you do a fob yet? You don't have someone to fob?
They're aldermen. All our pens will be gone.
Don't you need a special?
Yeah, I don't think a fob would work.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yours would work. Your police fob.
Yeah?
It's a cross programming. It's the same one, they just have to cross program it.
All right.
I don't, is there not a fob swipe at the front door yet? I don't think.
Yeah, there's one on there.
Is there one in
Yeah,
front?
Shannon let me in with
Okay.
hers, yeah. The little, you held it up to it.
I know they've been working on it.
Check
I
with
think
the
I
guy,
got it.
otherwise we'll go around, 'cause you might be just for the police station.
Yeah. I don't think-
He's gonna make a point on when we have meetings like
Alderman.
this. We need to keep.
You're live.
Okay, thank you. My agenda.
Thank you for that, Anna.
Okay, I am calling this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can we have a roll call? Alderman Warwood?
Here.
Alderman Pabon? Here. Alderman Theodore here. Okay, we have an open forum. If there is anyone here who wishes to speak.
For your minutes, you should include who your guests are, so that
Okay,
Commander Manfredini.
can we all say who we are here?
Giordano Manfredini. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Laxton?
Okay, thank you. And the commission?
Don Miller, before resident.
Okay.
Gil Pena?
Ana Espinosa, Fire and Police Commissioner.
Okay. Very good, thank you all. So for the open forum, if anyone is here to speak to that, you get 3 minutes to speak. So I'm not here for that? Okay. All right, so we'll just move right into the meeting then. This is our Police and Fire Aldermanic Committee, and tonight we are going to cover anticipatory staffing and training plan. There is no one here for the open forum. Anticipatory hiring. So what it is an anticipatory appointment of new officers as preemptive employment recruitment strategy to address annual officer turnover, approximately 7 per year, scheduled retirements, and also mandatory retirements. So the way it works now, the current hiring practices, no action is taken to mitigate the impacts of scheduled retirements before the officers separate from service. Police and Fire Commission is only allowed to recommend hiring the next eligible candidate after staffing shortages already exist. Once the shortage exists, it takes up to 6 months to secure an academy reservation. Many preferred and well-qualified candidates seek employment elsewhere during this long delay. After the 6-month reservation delay, there is an additional 9 months of training needed before the officer can work independently, which takes a total of about 15 months. The police department is forced to hire back senior officers at overtime to fill the shortage for the 15-month period at an average rate of $78.55. So for the 2,600 hours, it covers the 15 months. That is a total of $204,230 per vacancy. After the 15-month delay, the preferred officers on the hiring list are no longer available after the delay due to extreme shortage of qualified candidates in the hiring pool. The Police and Fire Commission spends $4,600 per hiring cycle to recruit approximately $5,000 per candidate for the duty fitness testing for officers that end up hired elsewhere due to all of these delays. Officers working extended shifts to fill vacancies become fatigued and are likely to get injured in the line of duty and more likely incur citizen complaints. The current hiring challenges are reservations are normally needed 6 months or more in advance to secure seats. Seats are very limited when they are available in the academies. Police academies hold 3 classes per year that start at different intervals. Officers must be hired by the municipality before registration in an academy. Academy training takes 18 weeks to complete, depending on what academy they go to. Field training takes another 16 to 20 weeks before officers can work independently. Job applicant pool is weak, leading to substandard candidates failing training and setback of timeline well beyond the 15 months. Qualified candidates leave before and during the 6-month academy course reservation gap. I don't know if that was someone calling to get in here. I guess not. So that is the issue we're faced with, the way it is run right now for the academy, or the department. Proposed policy changes. First, we would be more proactive. Take immediate action when an officer announces their upcoming retirement or approaches mandatory age. Allow the Police and Fire Commission to make appointments in anticipation of the known staffing shortages rather than after they occur. Anticipatory appointments will allow the Police and Fire Commission to make earlier employment officers and successfully secure well-qualified candidates that may be hired elsewhere if we're waiting. With anticipatory appointments, the police department will be able to schedule the necessary academy reservations and begin training replacement officers before the known retirement creates a staffing shortage. The financial and operational goals are: 1, reduce training and staffing shortages, overlap time hours by 2/3. Hire new officers at a rate of $35.34 per hour rather than the overtime payment of the other officers, and bringing back in officers at $78.55 per hour. More effectively realize the investment made in recruiting and testing by efficiently hiring the top scoring candidates on the eligibility list. Satisfy manpower shortages with base rate police salary rather than overtime rate, thereby saving substantial money from the overall budget.
Catch up on your screen.
Okay, thank you. Satisfy manpower shortages with base rate police salaries rather than the overtime rate, thereby saving substantial money from the overall budget. Anticipatory hiring of a new officer with 4 months of overlap and 9 months of total training would cost the city $131,256, while pure overtime staffing for the 15 months cost the city $204,230. That's a saving of $74,974 per vacancy. And we would maintain proper staffing at all times while also bolstering citizen services and police safety. So that is the issue tonight, the status quo and the changes and the money we would save.
I'll go ahead and kind of put it in a nutshell of what we're going, what the commission sees, what the police department sees. From our perspective, right, the way it's working now is somebody retires, the chief will call, we'll come up with a candidate to put to the council for you guys to approve, for us to send. Once that initially takes place, now we gotta do background checks, we gotta do psychological testing, medical testing. So that's what takes those 4 to 6 months. In the meantime, another wheel is turning over here where you get 3 opportunities to send candidates to the academy. Any given academy will tell the city of Berwyn you got 3 seats or 3 spots. If we don't have them, they go to somewhere else. So if you miss that, now you gotta wait for it. So all that time that's lagging, the individuals on our list, the way we get them and they're lined up is whatever they score, their interviews and whatever points they get. So we may get the first one from the top 3 spots. By the time we get that second call, now we're dealing from the 10 to 15. By the time we get that third call, we're already at the bottom of the list. And the reason for that is these people are on multiple lists. Police departments are yanking them out. These guys are very competitive. They're looking at other police stations. So what we're trying to do is knowing that we're gonna have some openings, because we're aware of retirements coming, this and that. What we wanna do is get ahead of the plan, get a little proactive, and pre-staff ourselves. So we'll get the top 5, first example, we'll get the first top 5 individuals. We'll get them started. By the time we do all of our initial vetting, and they get them hooked up to an academy, now they gotta go 4 to 6 months. It takes 16 to 20 weeks. It's a 16-week course, but if you fail whatever's going on in that week, you get to do it again. I mean, there's a process, so it could take up to 20. Then once they get them, they gotta train them. So it's taken almost, 15 months before they can get those boots on the streets. Between that, there's a lot of gaps, there's a lot of overtime. And so if we move towards this, they work the numbers out. When this was first brought up to the commission, I was mostly interested in having an opportunity to get the top candidates. Because if we can get them and start them, and we can't send them to the police academy unless we give them a conditional offer of employment. It's not, so we have to hire them and then send them. So if we can get those top 5 candidates now before other departments get them, that span, they already know we got openings coming. They're gonna start hitting, they're gonna come out of the academy probably already with a need. And we'll probably save money. I don't know how the numbers work up. Mike takes care of that. So that's, in a nutshell, what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these people on the roster, ready to go, without the time delays. And because we're losing a lot of candidates, a lot of good candidates, and the candidates that we are getting, the way the systems work, are in the bottom of the list. They qualified, they're on the list, but they don't train well, they don't write reports, they figure this ain't what they wanna do. So we're losing candidates. We wanna get those top candidates on our streets before other departments get them. Jim, you got anything to add?
Basically, what you're saying is, yeah, that there's a whole multitude of different, points that we're trying to bring together, but for us, it's frustrating, because when we have the need, we have to get them into the academy, and there's, as Commissioner stated, there's reservation issues, there's training issues. And if you go off of our last list, some of the recruits simply either decide they don't want to be police officers anymore, or they just don't make it through field training. I think one of the examples that we were presented with, the last list previous to the current list that the Police Fire Commission is working on currently had 11 final applicants. And of those 11 final applicants, we ended up with 2. We have 2 police officers on the street from that pool of 11. So it takes us time to then rebuild when we know that we're gonna have openings.
And those lost candidates, we're gonna recoup some of those monies that we invested on.
So in the meantime, you're filling it with a lot of overtime, and then you call back other officers that have already retired?
Not retired, but we have mandatory minimum staffing, so if there's a shortage, somebody retires, there's not enough officers on the street, we have to fill that in with overtime, so then officers are gonna have to either work their off days or work extended shifts at the overtime rate of pay. And the way that overtime works, it starts with the most senior officer with the right of first refusal, so you're hiring back the overtime at the higher rate of pay as opposed to, a new hire at base pay.
Okay.
So we figured, we'll get this in front of the council now, because basically what we're asking is, we're gonna ask for an extension on the budget, right? Because we have to pay these guys to get them up there. So we're thinking, oh man, our budget's gonna grow. These guys are not gonna, look at that favorably. Well, when we started looking more into it, is we're actually saving money But from a commission's point of view, from the city of Berwyn, we're gonna get a lot better candidate than we're getting now.
So you offer them the conditional employment, they go on our payroll.
Yes.
So in the savings piece, you talk about 4 months of overlap, it's 9 months of training, this cost. So while they're doing all that training and we're paying their salary, we're still paying
You're also paying
overtime
to the gap.
if someone steps down. So then we're paying 2 people to fill that gap.
Yeah, and you're basically gonna do that now, but we are eliminating that piece that we got one guy going through this training process while there's still an opening. We're anticipating, we know we're gonna have 3 retirements here in the next 3 to 4 months.
Right.
I mean, they're coming, right? So we're starting to get these guys into doing all their background and vetting process. We're gonna get them to the academy so we don't miss, because they're not like, these academy positions are not open, every week, right? Every 3 times a year. And they're all, every department wants those.
Right, so
So
there's
we
limited
probably
openings.
get 3 or 4 seats that we can jump on right away.
And those-
If we lose those, then
Those openings are on top of the 3 that we already have. We have 3 openings currently, and we're gonna have more, so yes.
And then you have a list of mandatory retirements too, so you guys know ahead of time without that.
Well, we have three weeks now to commit to the next academy?
Yes.
Otherwise, so 3 weeks to the next academy, we're gonna have 2 openings during that academy. And then we're gonna be pushed back to the year-end academy, which doesn't give us anyone out of the academy until spring, and they're not trained and out on the street until next fall.
so we lose 6 months there.
If we were able to hire now, we could get 6 in the academy now,
Right.
and then we don't.
We'll actually be right coming out of the academy when these positions
Right.
become available. So
That's
instead of
just-
waiting the 6 months, they're ready to go.
That's just how it works out now. Obviously, some of these numbers are based on the situation that's in front of us right now. People retire at different intervals, people's seniority dates are at different intervals. It's gonna be slightly different.
It might be 2 or 3 the next time, instead of
Yeah.
5. It's just that we see 5 coming.
Right. Because there's no like mandatory when you're retiring, you gotta give any certain time frame. So you guys have guys that just,
We'll come in and tell you on
I'll
Friday.
tell you on Friday, I'm sorry, today's my last day, I'll see you around.
right.
We're gonna try to build that into this plan. If the plan gets approved, we're obviously gonna try to build policy around that to say, hey, you must give us a
You
advance
gotta give us
notice.
notice when the
So
retirement.
so we can make sure we have people
Right,
set up to go into the academy, because
Right.
otherwise,
Yeah.
or someone chooses, they're gonna retire, and then you put it through this, and they choose not to retire, now you got this officer, you got this guy ready to go, and this other guy decided he's not retiring. or
This
she's
is the
not
first
retiring.
step in that process, and we need to
Right.
sit down then, and we've already spoken with the police union to try to work around those issues, and they're agreeable to it if we're able to, work
Right.
with the fire commission and get these people started.
I'd be
We can
very,
work on the other-
I'd be very optimistic with going this route. My only other concern would be 12 weeks into the process, the candidate says, I'm out. We just wasted 12 weeks of pay and 12 weeks of time.
That
We get that
happens
now.
to us.
That happens anyway.
It happens now.
Okay.
That was my concern as well. What commitment do we have that once they go through the training, they don't say, I'm going somewhere else, or they don't pass?
We actually have them sign
Okay.
a reimbursement waiver now.
Yeah, we started a reimbursement waiver for the police side of the training and that, and the academy, portion of it, and any equipment we give them, we would get reimbursed for. Unfortunately, police and fire commission, you guys wanna build something into, your process, you could do that too as well, but we don't really have a say.
So,
in that.
yeah, all the recruitment efforts that we go through, we want to also retain. So we now have new officers for that reason, because we're being cherry picked by other departments. Why do you want to work here for X number of dollars? You could come a little further out west and you can make $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 more. And so if they choose to resign within a 2-year period, they have to pay back all that training money back to the city of Berwyn.
Now, let's take those top 10 candidates, right? They're highly qualified individuals. They're in 5 different cities. They take tests, they're on everybody's list. So if we don't get to them, somebody else will get to them. So that's one of my concerns, is that when we're ready and we wait those 4 or 5 months, when, those top 10 are gone. We probably got 1 or 2 with these first positions, but now we're going in those 15 to 20 offices.
So can you repeat again what the top 1 to 3 reasons you wanna shift to this, the top,
Okay.
the benefits
So-
that come with it?
from the commission's perspective, right? This gives us the opportunity to offer the top 5 candidates, in this particular case, a conditional offer of employment, which means is they're not gonna wait around. Berwyn's gonna get to them right now. We're not gonna give Cicero or Oak Brook or Brookfield a chance to get to these guys because they have openings too. So let's say we only get the 2 that we need now, or the 3 that we need now, but the other 2 are gonna go somewhere else.
Right.
So if we get those 5 now, and we start them through our process, we get our 6 months where we vet them, the other 12 months where the police and the academy get on them, that's gonna save us from having to get inferior candidates on the street. From the police department's perspective, they're gonna get individuals that when these positions become available, they're already towards the end of their training cycle, which they're not gonna have to wait that 9 months. And with those 9 months, it's gonna incur extra costs, people are gonna lose their vacations, you're gonna bring them in, they're gonna work extended hours where, that's kinda when you get crappy towards the end of the week, you know? They can make mistakes, I mean, like everything else, right? There's a certain time where, you know, you lag, so that's what we're avoiding, or we're trying to.
And is the third-ish one the kind of saving on this overtime situation?
Well, you know, that's just something that
Part of it?
actually was a benefit, because I didn't think we were gonna get a benefit,
Right.
you know? I figured I was gonna go over here and try to talk you guys into spending a little extra so that we get higher quality officers and not jeopardize the city with tired officers. But as it turns out, there is a savings.
And I guess my question is, if those are the, you know, the top candidates coming into, you know, the department, they're ready to go earlier, right, so there's not a big gap, and then there's some overtime savings. Is there ways, if this shift was to happen, for you all to track that, to see if you are hitting
Well,
those
yeah, obviously,
benefits?
if it
To be able
was
to
that we're
report back
terribly
and-
wrong on it, we wouldn't do it again, right? But
Yeah, yeah, just so that we can look at it,
Oh,
you know, and see the
absolutely.
results of
Yeah,
it, that'd be cool.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it'd be good for you guys to see.
What would the starting rate be for these officers
For what?
probationary? What would their rate be?
It's the same, I mean, this
As
is,
a-
nothing
as a-
changes, we're still bringing these guys in.
It's on the
It's
starting
a-
probationary rate is that 35, 34 an hour.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which is what we offer our new officers, right? And keep in mind is, some of the guys that are filling in the gap, that these guys would be filling in, they're at $78 an hour.
And how would they fulfill their hours?
What do you mean?
What would they be doing? If we're giving 35, if we're giving them this rate?
They be sent to the academy, for
Well,
sure.
I mean-
that's the rate that they get paid now, it's not, nothing's changing. Instead of doing it 1 every 3 or 4 months, we're gonna do 5 at the same time, right? So that number doesn't change. We're spending that now, except we're spending them when they're lagged months between them, which is why seasoned officers are in there filling in the gaps when there's a retirement or there's no one to take a shift.
Right, no, but maybe I'm misunderstanding. We're gonna pre-hire them, right?
Yes,
So what will they be doing when we pre-hire them at 35?
going to the academy.
Okay, so they're not gonna get paid before they go to the academy?
No, they don't get, when we give them conditional offers and we're doing like the background checks and
Right.
the psych
They-
test,
they wouldn't have
no,
to
they're not
pay
getting
for it.
paid during that.
Because I thought they got paid if they went to the academy anyway.
Yes.
No, because if the way we do our system now, right, when they qualify, right, because they're still gonna have to qualify for all that, right? They're gonna have to go through their background, they're gonna have to go through their psych and medicals. We can't give them that conditional offer unless they pass all that. Once all that is passed and we get the green light, then we'll offer them, and then they can go ahead and assign to the next academy, just like we do now.
There's essentially 2 sets of backlogs. There's the commissioner set of backlogs, and then there's the academy training set of backlogs. So we have to clear your hurdle, and then it goes to our hurdle.
Right.
And if those 2 timelines don't add up, it gets pushed out to the next academy, and that's another 6 months, another 6 months, another 6 months. What we're trying to do is align both of these timelines, commissioner timeline and the training reservation timeline, to be the same.
Makes
And then
sense.
that way we cut back that 6 month or so delay that can actually turn into 8 or 9 or more months, if our 2 timelines don't add up.
And then during this process, even with putting this process in place, they're still gonna be actively looking at lateral moves, correct? To fill these positions?
Sure. What this does is offer that college student who wants to become police officer, the opportunity to become police officer. The laterals are very helpful to us. They fill a lot of voids for us,
Right.
but then new hires don't get a chance. So
Right.
we're trying to
No, that
balance
makes
this out
sense.
for it.
You gotta balance it,
no,
otherwise
I
you're gonna
know,
end up with
no.
a bunch of old people.
No,
Yeah.
I, no, I
You
get
get,
you.
like he said, you get older people, it's a double-edged sword, you get people that bring definite skills from other places, and you get people that bring
Bad.
bad habits from other places as well.
Yes, I would think.
Sometimes.
I'm the oldest one here. No. But, I'm old, we got an old guy and a dinosaur. Thank you.
And are
We're,
the
we're
laterals-
thinking outside the box here a little bit, just to see if we can, you know, stop these gaps, that lose these candidates that we're losing. Because we are seeing it. I mean, you know.
Big loss of money, but, so with the laterals, when you hire that way, do they get paid more because they've already, they?
Yes.
Experience and everything, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Absolutely we do.
Because you're not, and again, you're not doing any of the upfront costs, of
Right.
paying them to go through the
Now, they
academy,
also
the
have an
training, and all
advantage that
that.
these are experienced police officers too, right? So there's minimal training that you do with them, but they are making a lot more.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to do that because there's just so many people that leave that it's impossible
Yeah.
to train enough people to fill in the gaps. So we're forced to go to a lateralist just to kind of stop the bleeding.
Okay.
But, you know, as things slow down, and if we're at attrition of 5 to 7 a year, we'd like to bring some new people in, train them our way, and, you know, hire some more people from the community here.
Yeah.
So that, it's a good mix.
Okay, so, what we are here for tonight is to decide if we should put this for a vote on the council. So the three of us can vote, if we're ready, unless there's more to discuss.
I would just say if there's a way to kind of measure sort of the efficacy of this, like, right, for the first year or something, to be able to get
No,
some.
I would
some
expect,
metrics.
like, within a year,
Yes, yeah.
get some hard numbers,
That's
how
what I'm
this
saying.
worked out, and then match them up to what our prediction was.
Exactly.
Otherwise, why even go forward if this is gonna be costing us double?
Right, you could kind of look at the
Yeah.
five
I
that
wanna
came
see,
in, and really,
is
when
this
did the
a
other
successful
5
program or
leave?
not?
Or you kind of look at all those different numbers, the intake of people and the departures of others. Are we really, is it really this shorter lag, or is it way too long of a lag? Or is the lag even too short, and we need to speed it up even quicker process?
Right.
You will, yes.
Stop it, you know.
In 2020, the commission gave us a fairly large group, and we sent them to the academy. 3 of those recruits never graduated the academy. So we lost 3 right out of the, I believe that was 7 in that group. We lost 3 right out of the group. So we sent 7, 4 came back. They're still here, they made it through field training, but, We could-
One resigned after that too.
right, yeah. So I mean, we
Yeah,
could,
it wasn't 4 out of 7.
yeah.
Okay, I think I need a motion to vote.
Well, I motion to put this on council for next council, which is whatever the date may be.
Next week. I don't know.
Yeah, next week.
July 11th.
July 11th.
Do I have a
I
second?
can give you a second if you're, yeah. if you
Because I
can't
don't
say.
think okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'll get this to the clerk tomorrow and get it on the agenda for next week, Tuesday. The next council. All right, thank you all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And then you'll schedule another meeting where we got some numbers to compare?
Yes.
Because I'd like to see that.
Yes, because that would be good.
All right.
Okay.
You didn't break
Thank you
anything?
very much. No. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
That's just going on.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you just have a secret passageway or something. The door that, a wall that opens.
He's in here so long, yeah.
So, Commissioner Holland, if this passes on the 11th, I'm just forward thinking, I know you have the active list on your top 5.